December 29th, 1845. Washington City stood cold beneath a gray winter sky. Frost clung to rooftops, carriage wheels rattled along muddy streets, and inside the halls of government, a decision waited that would redraw the map of North America forever. By noon, the United States would not simply grow larger, it would change its future. Far to the southwest, Texas already existed as something extraordinary. For nearly a decade, it had stood as an independent nation, the Republic of Texas, born from revolution, defended by settlers, soldiers, ranchers, and dreamers who refused to abandon the land they fought to secure. Texans had proven they could stand alone, but independence came with constant danger. Mexico still claimed the territory. Raids threatened settlements. Diplomats struggled to secure lasting stability. Texas needed security. America saw opportunity. In Washington, debates had raged for months. Annexing Texas meant expansion on a scale never attempted before. Supporters believed the young republic represented courage, freedom, and the unstoppable movement westward. Opponents warned it could provoke war and deepen political divisions. Newspapers across the nation argued fiercely, turning Texas into the center of American conversation. Yet beneath politics lay a deeper idea shaping the moment: the belief that the United States was destined to expand across the continent. Many Americans saw Texas not as foreign land, but as a natural extension of the nation's frontier spirit. The same determination that built settlements along the Atlantic coast now pushed toward open plains and vast horizons. Inside Congress, representatives gathered as the final paperwork moved forward. Ink, signatures, and votes might seem quiet compared to battles and revolutions, but everyone present understood the magnitude of what they were about to do. Annexation would add hundreds of thousands of square miles to the United States instantly. Rivers, plains, forests, and ports would become American overnight. At noon, the resolution was finalized. Texas was admitted as the 28th state of the United States. The announcement spread quickly through Washington. Bells rang. Messengers hurried through streets carrying official news. Newspapers rushed to print special editions. For many Americans, it felt like the nation had taken a giant step westward in a single moment, not through conquest alone, but through union. Thousands of miles away, Texans awaited confirmation with anticipation mixed with pride. They were not being absorbed unwillingly, they were joining by choice. After years of standing independent, Texas entered the Union as a partner forged through sacrifice and resilience. That distinction mattered deeply. Texas was not merely territory gained, it was a republic choosing to become American. The implications were enormous. America's southern border shifted dramatically. Trade routes expanded. Access to the Gulf of Mexico strengthened national power. New opportunities opened for settlement, agriculture, and commerce. The young nation suddenly possessed greater resources and strategic reach than ever before. But expansion also carried tension. Mexico rejected the annexation, viewing it as a hostile act. Diplomats understood that conflict might follow. Even as celebrations began, shadows of future war loomed beyond the horizon. Still, on that winter day in 1845, optimism overshadowed fear. Americans believed they were witnessing history's momentum, proof that courage on distant frontiers could reshape an entire nation. In a single decision made at noon in Washington City, the United States grew larger, stronger, and more confident about its destiny. And Texas, once a lone republic carved out by determination, became the state that made America bigger overnight. News of annexation did not travel instantly in 1845, but when confirmation finally reached Texas, it moved like wildfire across towns, ranches, and frontier settlements. Riders carried letters across dusty roads. Church bells rang in small communities carved from wilderness. In taverns and town squares, Texans gathered to hear the words read aloud again and again. Texas was now part of the United States. For many, the moment felt less like surrendering independence and more like completing a journey they had begun years earlier. The men who had fought at Gonzales, Goliad, and San Jacinto had never imagined their struggle would echo across an entire continent. Yet their victories had created something powerful enough to join a growing nation as an equal state. Flags changed, but pride did not. The Lone Star still flew beside the stars and stripes, symbolizing a rare distinction. Texas entered the Union not as conquered land, but as a republic choosing partnership. That story quickly became part of American identity itself. Freedom defended, independence achieved, and unity chosen voluntarily. Economically, the transformation was immediate. American merchants looked west with new excitement. Ports along the Gulf promised expanded trade routes connecting farms, ranches, and markets. Settlers began preparing wagons, imagining opportunity beyond crowded eastern cities. Texas represented land, possibility, and a future that seemed limitless. Strategically, annexation reshaped America's position in North America. The nation now stretched deeper toward the southwest, gaining access to vast plains and critical waterways. Military planners understood the advantage instantly. Texas served as both shield and gateway, protecting American interests while opening paths toward the Pacific. But growth rarely comes without consequence. Mexico viewed annexation as a direct challenge. Diplomatic tensions hardened into anger as disputes over borders intensified. The question of where Texas truly ended, at the Nueces River or the Rio Grande, became more than a line on a map. Soldiers on both sides prepared for confrontation, knowing that the decision made in Washington might soon be tested on the battlefield. Back in the United States, reactions were intense. Expansionists celebrated what they saw as proof of American confidence and courage. Critics worried the nation was moving too quickly into uncertain territory. Yet regardless of opinion, few could deny the scale of change. Overnight, America's size, resources, and ambitions had expanded dramatically. Ordinary Americans felt the shift in quieter ways. Farmers imagined new markets. Young men dreamed of frontier adventure. Families pictured new beginnings beneath open skies. Texas became more than geography. It became a symbol of opportunity earned through determination. Meanwhile, Texans themselves faced a new reality. Independence had required constant vigilance and sacrifice. Now they were part of a powerful union capable of defense and growth on a scale impossible alone. The dangers that once threatened the Republic would now be faced by an entire nation. The annexation did something deeper than enlarge borders. It fused frontier courage with national identity. The spirit that had defined Texas, resilience, independence, and bold action, began shaping how Americans saw their own future. The United States had not simply added land, it had absorbed a story of defiance and victory, and that story would soon push the nation into its next great chapter. By the end of December 29, 1845, the ink on official documents had dried, but the true impact of annexation was only beginning to unfold. What seemed like a political agreement in Washington would soon redefine the direction of an entire nation. Texas did not simply join the United States. It accelerated America's march toward continental power. Almost immediately, the question of borders drew the country into its next defining test. American troops moved south toward the Rio Grande, asserting the boundary Texas claimed as its own. Across the river, Mexican forces watched carefully. Both sides understood what was happening. Annexation had shifted the balance of power in North America, and neither nation could ignore it. Within months, tensions erupted into conflict, leading to the Mexican-American War. For Americans, the struggle became proof of a growing national confidence. Soldiers marched under a flag now stretching farther west than ever before, believing they were defending not just territory, but the idea of expansion and opportunity. Texas stood at the center of it all, the spark that pushed America onto a larger stage. The results reshaped the map permanently. Victory opened vast western lands that would eventually become California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and parts of several other states. The United States transformed from a coastal republic into a nation spanning toward the Pacific Ocean. Trade routes expanded, migration surged, and the dream of crossing an entire continent under one flag became reality. None of it would have happened so quickly without Texas. The former republic provided more than land. It provided momentum. Its history of independence convinced Americans that bold risks could lead to historic rewards. The courage shown at places like Gonzales and San Jacinto became part of a larger national mythology, proof that determined people could shape destiny against overwhelming odds. For Texans, annexation preserved something unique. They remained fiercely proud of their independent past while helping build a stronger future within the Union. The Lone Star identity did not fade. Instead, it amplified American confidence itself. Texas symbolized self-reliance joined with unity, a powerful combination that resonated across generations. As settlers pushed westward in the decades that followed, many carried stories of Texas as inspiration. It represented possibility earned through sacrifice. Frontier towns grew into cities. Railroads crossed plains once fought over by armies. Industries rose, fueled by resources that would later power the modern American economy. Looking back, historians would recognize December 29, 1845, as one of the most consequential turning points in U.S. history. Without annexation, America's expansion might have slowed or taken a different path entirely. With it, the nation embraced a future defined by scale, ambition, and confidence. What made the moment remarkable was not conquest, but choice. Texas entered the Union willingly, bringing its hard-won independence into partnership with a young republic ready to grow. Together, they created something larger than either could alone. America didn't just gain territory that day. It gained momentum, identity, and a belief that its future stretched as far as its people dared to go. And from that moment forward, the story of Texas became inseparable from the story of America itself. A reminder that sometimes a single decision, made at exactly the right time, can make a nation bigger overnight and its destiny limitless.